Social media is a huge part of my life, and if you're marketing your business or creating content on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, then it's a big part of yours as well. So how do we manage our time and our focus so that social media doesn't dominate every available moment, preventing us from doing the kind of work that improves us personally and professionally? That's hard, and it's one of the questions that Cal Newport tries to answer in Deep Work. Now, this book isn't solely about social media, but it is a topic that comes up again and again and again. Now, before I talk more about how Deep Work changed my relationship to social media and more specifically allowed me to take back control of social media, first let me clarify what is deep work and what is not deep work. The definition of deep work is professional activities performed in a state of distraction-free concentration that push your cognitive capabilities to their limit. These efforts create new value, improve your skills, and are hard to replicate. Examples of deep work include writing an essay or learning a new skill like computer programming. Shallow work, on the other hand, is non-cognitively demanding logistical style tasks often performed while distracted. These efforts tend not to create much new value in the world and are easy to replicate. Checking email, filling in a spreadsheet, responding to a general request in Slack, tweaking the monthly slide presentation deck. These are all examples of shallow work, and they're all types of work that many of us are doing every single day. So a question you might be asking yourself is deep work even possible when social media is such an integral part of our lives? And the answer is yes, because even as an Instagram strategist, the work that moves my business forward is drawing up proposals, developing strategies, freelance writing, and creating content like YouTube videos and Instagram posts. While that's still social media, it's not me spending 20 minutes mindlessly scrolling Instagram or quickly replying to an email. Those tasks might feel good to tick off my to-do list, but they chip away at my ability to be able to concentrate on the meatier tasks which actually move my business forward. With all that being said, what are some of the key lessons that I took away from this book with regards to social media? Well, the first one is that the key is to limit and contain social media. When we spend too much time in a state of frenetic shallowness, we risk permanently losing the ability to focus on anything for any meaningful length of time. To break this habit, we have to train our brains like we train our bodies, and that means turning off all social media notifications and refusing to check social media so that we can focus on the task at hand. Cal goes one step further and suggests quitting social media altogether. Now, of course, I see the benefits of this, but for those of us who rely on social media to sell our products and market our services, quitting isn't always the option. So for those of us in that position, we have to be super diligent with when and how long we're spending on social media. But here's the thing, it's all very well having good intentions about avoiding shallow work and prioritizing deep work, but daily rituals and accountability is what makes the execution of those good intentions actually happen. Daily rituals are essential because every single human being wakes up in the morning with a finite amount of willpower. This is why people tend to reach for the less healthy comfort foods at the end of the day, when their tired brain finds it harder to resist temptation. To make the most of your daily allotment of willpower, Cal suggests implementing habits that exploit your brain's most focused time to do the deep work then. For me, I am my most productive and energetic first thing in the morning, so I schedule my deep work time for 8:30 every morning. And for 3 hours, I try not to look at any notifications, I don't check my email, I don't check Instagram, and I just work. 3 hours because research has shown that the human brain can only really focus for a maximum of 4 hours. About 11:30, I have 30 minutes of dedicated shallow work time. That is the time that I have limited and contained to that 30 minutes to check my email, to go on Instagram, to reply to any Slack messages. Then I will have my lunch break, and then after lunch, I will go back to do a little bit more deep work. Cal Newport taught me how important it is to focus on one task at a time. When we try to switch between tasks like checking email and writing a proposal, this constant back and forth diminishes our ability to focus on the primary task at hand, and we experience something that Cal Newport describes as attention residue. In other words, switching your focus too often between multiple tasks decreases your performance. It's almost like some of your attention remains stuck on what you were working on before. And I'm sure you've experienced this if you've ever been writing a proposal, writing an essay, doing something that requires more of your brain power, and you go to check an email or you check Instagram and you see something that throws you off course. Maybe it's an email that you weren't expecting. Maybe it's an Instagram post that leaves you feeling a little bit less than yourself. and it remains on your mind and you can't shake off thinking about it, even though you're meant to be concentrating on the other task. The best solution to overcome attention residue is to plan long blocks of time in your calendar to just do the deep work and schedule those shorter blocks of time for shallow work when you are less energized and less productive. This brings me on to the importance of accountability and how important it is to deep work. One way of staying accountable is with calendar blocking, as we've already mentioned, and the other way is with regular check-ins so that you can keep track of your progress. Cal Newport is a big fan of deep work tallies, a record kept each week of the total hours spent in a state of unbroken concentration. This is an excellent way of keeping track of progress, making sure he's getting those hours of deep work in, and it gives him motivation to keep going. You could track hours or you could track milestones, like hitting a certain word count every day if your goal is to write a book or a freelance article or an essay. One of my absolute favorite lessons from deep work has to be don't run from boredom, because this is almost always the reason that we reach for our smartphones. As Newport says, exceptional things, be it ideas, writing, mathematics or art, require hard work. This in turn requires boring stretches during which you ignore a mind pleading with you to seek novel stimuli. Maybe there's an email waiting that holds some exciting news. Go check. In other words, deep work can be boring. In fact, it often is the boring work, at least in comparison to the incessant dopamine hits that we get from a quick check on Instagram. But in that boredom, we can refine our ability to focus. We can train our minds to use that time to focus on the knotty sections of our deep work and come better prepared for tomorrow's deep work session. For example, Cal Newport talks about how on his commute to and from campus every day, he didn't listen to a podcast to distract himself. He had nothing in his ears, he just had his thoughts. By keeping his mind clear of distraction, he had the space to think up creative ideas for his next book and even started fleshing out the chapter headings. So next time you feel yourself reaching for your phone to relieve a moment of boredom, try not doing that and use that time to concentrate instead. To read, to learn something new, to concentrate rather than engaging in something passively. Otherwise, if every moment of potential boredom is relieved by a quick glance at a smartphone, then your brain has likely been rewired to a point where it's not ready for deep work, even if you regularly schedule time to practice this concentration. This is a really, really inspiring book, and if you want to find out the other daily rituals I stick to every single day that have changed my relationship to social media and massively improved my business, then you're definitely going to want to check out this video next.